Here's Johnny. Here's Jack, we should say. So we're talking about arguably one of the greatest, if not, probably on a lot of people's Rushmore of greatest actors, greatest performers in this art of movie making and film and television and all that. We're talking about the best, the Rushmore, the top of the one and only, you only got to say his first name, of Jack. We all know who that is. Tommy.
But before we throw our sunglasses on and dive into this one, we would love for you to please pop on over and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button to our channel. We're going to keep pumping these episodes out. Demetrius, what do you have to say for yourself about Jack Nicholson? Is he not one of the GOATs or what?
He is goated. He is the Lakers' #1 fan. I mean, we're going to get down and dirty with the man they call Jack Nicholson. Today.
Yes, that's right. Today. And the thing with Jack is like the catalog is super deep because it spans like decades and decades and decades. And it almost felt up until recently that Jack like kind of never aged. It always felt like you could see a movie with him in 2007, 2008, and it felt like you were watching one in the 70s. I'm going to start with a movie that I watch all the time. I think it's top Jack. I mean, I don't want to put them in order, but it's really hard to argue that Cuckoo's Nest, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Milos Forman, McMurphy is one of, there it is, the hat's on. I mean, to me, it is the pinnacle because it's a range of Jack too. It's not Jack doing, the Jack thing and the whatever. It's him doing everything. And you feel the journey on a film, and when you want to follow that lead character around, is you want to, as a viewer, feel every single emotion. And you laugh, you cry, you feel everything in that film. And he was nominated 12 times. That's one of his nominations. And I think he might have won for Cuckoo's Nest.
I think he won for that one and another one.
Yeah.
So we'll talk later.
Yeah. I mean, just one of the greatest performances. McMurphy's one of the greatest characters, the great Milos Forman, and a million other actors. Michael Douglas produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What do you got, Tom?
Yeah.
That's a great choice. Love that scene where he gets them all to watch the baseball game. They get really all excited about the game. Like, how iconic is that stuff? In the basketball game, Jack's the man. Again, one of those performers, one of those rare creatures that roam the world where you just got to say their first name and you know damn well who Jack is. My first pick is this movie really got to me because I watched it for the first time when I first started wanting to make movies. So I was like, ooh, this is different. And that is As Good as It Gets. And this movie was just like an Oscar darling. It swept the Academy Awards that year. Jack is playing opposite Helen Hunt, who also, I believe this is the year that Jack won Best Actor and Helen Hunt won Best Actor and the movie won Best Picture. So like clean sweep of the Oscars right there. And man, Jack is playing a character by the name of Melvin Udall, and he's just, got this really bad OCD, and he's very dark, and he's kind of a mean guy, and he's got a lot of edginess to him, but he still has a heart somewhere deep down inside. And it's just amazing to see Jack play this edgy character that finds love, and it becomes this touching romance at the end of the movie. It kind of swerves you. It gives you a little swerve. So I love the movie.
He did win the Oscar. He won the Oscar
for that.
And he won it for Cuckoo's Nest in 75. So that was 22 years later. So he won for Cuckoo's Nest. He has 12 nominations. I just looked, and he won for As Good as It Gets 22 years later. Incredible.
Wow.
Great movie. If you haven't seen that one, check it out.
I love both those movies.
Me too.
Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, that's really pretty much in the glory years of Hollywood. You know what I mean? Probably the best decade of Hollywood. I mean, so many good movies coming out at that time. I'm gonna actually go more so in the 90s, and one of my favorite movies is A Few Good Men. Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise. I mean, come on, man.
He is, and what's funny, he is a few good men.
Handle the truth.
He is. He killed it.
How iconic was that one line there? You can't handle the truth. I mean, that just swept everything in pop culture.
Yeah, it's been parodied, I mean, it's a go-to parody that you see quite often. So, yeah, man. I mean, look, we're gonna have a lot of fun in this episode because it's just so deep.
What year is 91?
92? Yeah, 92. I
So
mean, he personified like a Marine, lieutenant colonel. So I mean, like
Colonel
the
Jessup.
flat top, or Colonel Jessup, yeah, the flat top haircut,
The
man,
flat
just
top's
like
awesome.
Yeah, so he that's a great story that Reiner tells a lot. Rob Reiner directed it. It's an absolutely incredible movie because it was obviously a play and there's all these incredible things with it, Aaron Sorkin and all that. They didn't think they were going to get Jack, right? And when they got him, they were like, oh my God, like he's going to do this, right? This is crazy. And he was only coming into work for like 2 days, 3 days on the movie. And you got all the rest of everybody else, Tom and Demi and everybody's, Kiefer, everybody's in that movie. And they're giving like stunning performances. But Jack's coming, right? Jack's going to be there. And Rob Reiner tells this story. It's you can see it on a bunch of different podcasts where he talks about Jack came in, and when they were doing the coverage on the courtroom, Jack's not on camera, but he's giving that speech, which is a couple of pages. And they said he's bringing it every single time. And Rob finally goes up to him, Rob Reiner, the director, and goes, hey, listen, Jack, you don't have to bring it every time. And he goes, no, you don't understand, man. I love to act. He goes, I don't get to act that much. And it's like,
that's so cool.
Jack,
he's a pros pro. He's a
pros pro. He is, again, this is why he's so goated, and this is why I'm so excited we're doing this episode, because he's loved. Like, he's just absolutely loved, and not just for his roles, but the way he's handled himself, minus the golf club incident that everybody likes to talk about, which I don't, did what he got to do, he is just man. They don't make him like that anymore. So what I'll say.
You know what? Code Red.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right I did.
You also got to look at too is like he has so many iconic moments. Like, obviously we'll talk about a few more later, but it's like, You Can't Handle the Truth and many more that just like stand out where it's just like he grabs the viewer through the fucking TV, through the theater, and you're right there with him in these iconic moments. Yeah, man. One of the greatest.
Some people just got it. Some people just got it. You know what I mean?
But he worked for it. It took him 15 years to break. It took him 15 years to break. Yeah, man.
And
so he earned every bit of it.
They talk about this a lot, and we all know this because we're in the business, is like sometimes the camera loves people. Like the camera loves him. Like, his face, every part of his face,
which is interesting because he's not what you'd consider your traditional handsome movie star, good looks kind of guy. And that's what I've always loved about Jack. Like, he's certainly a handsome man, but like it's like he's got a look that isn't like on a cover of a magazine kind of a look.
No, he's been balding since his 20s. He's like, you know what I mean? Like he's got that weird like sharp points of like
his eyebrows do that thing that's just nuts.
Yeah,
but he's fucking Jack, bro. Yeah.
What do you got for 2?
Number 2 for me. Listen, I have to put it on the list because it's synonymous with who he is, and we all know what it is. It's been played many times, but at the end of the day, I mean, the Joker and Batman and him playing that role is a whole different level of, we're all Batman fans. We all know the lore. We all understand from Red Hood and Joker and Jack Napier, the way he played him. And they changed a few things with killing, the parents, Wayne's parents and all. But he did something with that character that was unbelievable for a film that was borderlining on a kid's movie, but yet really dark Tim Burton wise. And I think when Jack came in that movie, it gave it street cred,
everything. Yep.
Everything. Like it was like, oh, it's that kind of movie. And I would say, to me, I know Brando did it in Superman. And I think, and because of their relationship, I'm almost positive that's why Jack did Batman, because of what Brando did in Superman, because he took the same deal where he took the merchandising. Is
biggest payday.
Yeah, biggest payday. I think Jack changed comic book movies because he made it where, well, if Jack's doing it, anybody can do it, right? Like now you didn't feel bad doing anything to do with comic. He made it acceptable.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
And if you're going to pick a character to play, the Joker, what a character.
It's the best character to play in any movie because you're bound by nothing. There's nothing you can do that's wrong playing the Joker. You know, that's the greatest thing about villains.
The coveted spot that a lot of actors want to play. I mean, obviously Heath did his thing, and you know, now we have, you know, it's just like the Joker is going to always be that character that the best plays, and that's because of Jack. Yeah,
not because of Cesar Romero, who's one of my favorite Jokers. While he was fantastic and refused to shave his mustache, it's because of Jack that Heath happened, that Joaquin happened, and anything else in between. It's because of them. So yeah, it's Batman for me. Number 2.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so we talked about this one on our horror Rushmore, and I got to break it out for this. I mean, I hate to double dip, but I'm going to go
double Rushmore.
You got to double Rushmore. Yeah, hey guys, this is our first
ding 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 ding.
We need a ding ding on that.
Yeah, we got a ding 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 ding. Double Rushmore.
Double Rushmore. We've never had one before. We're very excited, but yeah, this is the kind of performance that'll put you on a double Rushmore. Playing the character of Grady, who's just there to watch after the old inn there over the winter and goes insane and you know, tries to kill his family. I don't have to say much about it. Everybody knows about this movie. It's iconic. It's a Halloween costume that people rock every year. And Jack is just unbelievable in this movie. And I think one thing I'm noticing as a trend in all these movies is notice a lot of Jack's characters really go on a hell of a ride and take quite the arc. Like he's really great at like being one version of that guy in the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the movie, like something completely different. It even happens in the Joker. It happens in a lot of these movies we're talking about. So what a ride we get to go on with Jack. Love that movie. Here's Johnny.
Everybody's going to be cranking that movie up real soon. A lot of people.
He's always been the caretaker. I mean, you know, just that movie in particular. And you're so right about Jack. Like he takes you, like just from him driving in the car in the opening scene in Shining to the frozen head at the end, like that journey of that. He really does that in every single piece he's in. And there's not many people that can do that. And more importantly, we talk about this a lot, people who can play drama and comedy at the same time.
Yeah.
He does it flawlessly, where he makes you laugh and makes you cry.
He's so good at contorting his face. He's so good at contorting his face, man. Like you get so many different little minute emotions if you watch really closely, just by the way he contorts his face. And yeah, man, I mean, say less, bro. I love that pick. I'm going to go with my number 2 pick as the Martin Scorsese Departed.
Ooh.
One of my
Stole that whole movie.
Films. No, stole it. And you know what? He wasn't even the first choice for that movie. Scorsese wanted to go with Pacino originally. And
wow.
You know, Pacino did. Yeah. Pacino, it didn't work out. So Jack was number 2. I can imagine he's hardly ever number 2 in anything he does.
Never.
But he completely stole the movie, in my opinion.
Every scene. The whole rat scene that he improvised that scene. Yeah.
And not only does he steal the movie, I just think it's cool that, you know, you're talking about 2 legends of Hollywood getting to link up, in Scorsese and Jack, and I'm pretty sure that was the first movie they linked up together. So
it was
kind of cool little tag team there.
Yeah, and Leo's been living his lifestyle ever since. That's kind of like, that's when Leo basically became like the new Jack, where it's like stays out of the press. You never see him. You know, if you ever see him, it's like, you know, Jack's the actor that he's the first one I ever watched. They were doing an interview with him that I watched when I was younger, and he said actors should stay away from the press. It ruins the illusion. It's bad for the actor. And that hit me so hard, because I was like, man, he's so right in a business that wants to force you to be out there. Jack said, they'll see me on the screen. Like, you got to hold the mystery. And I think the mystique, and Leo did that really well after that and before that. I mean, Leo's always been doing that, but I think the working with Jack, I can imagine for him must have been like, because he has some intense scenes with him in that movie.
Yeah.
Slaps him around.
And to your point, I mean, I think that's one of the major problems in Hollywood now, is that everyone's too accessible for the major movie stars, man. Back then, it's like you might see Jack at a Laker game, but that's it.
You didn't see him on
with his shades on.
And if he was on late night, he always had his shades on. You don't see the eyes, right? So you see the eyes on the 25-foot screen, right? You don't see the eyes.
You know what? You go pay to see the eyes. You pay to see the eyes.
That's crazy.
You want to see my eyes? You got to pay. You want me to take You pay.
You pay. You know what? The other thing that's crazy is that he lived right next door to Brando up in Mulholland, and they had a thing cut through where they can go back and forth to each other's houses, right? They were right next door. And then Johnny Depp, during his like some time after Don Juan, like went and lived with them, and they all lived together for like 2 years.
Wow. Can you imagine the parties the three of those guys had?
It was the three of them at like peak Brando, you know, peak Depp. Like there was one, I think 2 years of intersection where they were all at their highest superpowers.
Changing of the guard for like,
that's crazy.
And he was with Angelica Houston then too, right?
Yeah, you hear
like, they had a long-term relationship.
Yeah. They talk about it in interviews. You'll hear them talk about it. I mean, you talk about those three. It's wild when you think about it.
Yeah,
they were doing numbers.
They were doing something. All right, so I got to go with a movie that I was late to the game on. I don't know why. I don't know why I was late on this. Somehow, some movies just get by you, and then eventually, 30 years later, you sit down and watch it. It was just one of those films that I always thought I had seen because I guess it's been so much in our cultural zeitgeist, and then I hadn't. And when I finally sat down to watch it a couple of years back, I've now watched it 10 times, and that's Chinatown, the great Robert Towne.
Great movie.
I was one of those people that somehow, which is so weird because I don't know many movies made before 2000 that I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen the film. And I was like, how did I not see this movie that's on top 10, top 50 of greatest, whatever? And I remember I was sitting in a hotel somewhere and I put it on and I was fucking floored by the film. But mainly by Jack, the choices that he made and what he decided to do. And what I loved about Jack, not just in that movie and obviously Faye Dunaway and everybody in that film, and just like a true mystery type film, was Jack has no ego as an actor. It's never about what he looks like. It's always what fits the character. And I think we all relate to him so much because he's the everyman. He's the every person. So Chinatown to me, you know, one of the greatest scripts, one of the greatest films, one of the greatest shot films. And he just crushed it.
That movie wouldn't get made today, which is crazy.
No, never. And it's just, you know, I mean, a lot of people say it's one of the best crime films ever made.
Easy.
So.
It's a beautiful movie too, man. I mean, if you're a true cinephile and you just love things like wonderfully composed photographs and shots and things like that, it's a beautiful movie. And that scene where sometimes something's so simple or so iconic, there's a scene where, you know, he gets his nose cut.
Yeah.
The guy just like takes the switchblade, deactivated, and just sticks it to his nose. And it's kind of like, you can imagine can you imagine just activating a switchblade when it's already up against your nose? Like, yikes. So it's like, I love that moment when like a movie gives you a feeling where like you can feel the pain of like what that's going to be like. Such a great movie.
And then wear the bandage the rest of the film. So now whenever you see the picture of someone with a bandage on their nose, half their nose, it looks like Chinatown. He's got the sunglasses and the bandage.
Genius.
Yeah, it's really, really
one of the great LA movies too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, LA is gorgeously depicted in that movie. Depicted.
What do you got? Number 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with one that I bet you a lot of the casual Jack fans probably haven't seen, but if you haven't, you should, because it's where kind of Jack started mixing up all the ingredients for all of his Jackness, and that is 5 Easy Pieces, which is a 1970 film, kind of just like a down-home movie about an oil rig guy who's, you know, spending his time between a bunch of bars and hotels and relationships with women that are kind of volatile, and it's just a really great slice of life kind of movie where Jack gets to just there's no gimmicks, no gimmickry. It's just real great, good old-fashioned acting by Jack.
Yeah, I like that call. Different.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it really is the beginning of it all for him. Like that, I know that it's like right as he, you know, was going, and then obviously you got Easy Rider, and you got you know, Cuckoo's Nest.
You're killing me. You're killing me, dude.
Sorry. But spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But you can talk about it. But 5 Easy Pieces is really, and again, a beautifully shot film. You know, really beautifully shot, and yeah, you're watching the origin story of Jack's career in Hollywood in 1970 with that film, and it's a film. I mean, a lot of people put it up as a lot of people say it's one of his greatest performances, and it's one of his, you know, if not first. That's incredible. Go for it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got to go to Easy Rider, man, if we're going to be in the 70s, dude. To me, man, one of the most iconic films of all time. Talk about freedom, talk about riding, talk about like him and Peter Fonda, just like, I mean, hey, well, you were a biker
Dennis,
at one point, right?
Yeah.
Weren't you a biker at one point, Juice?
9 years of my life. 9 years
man,
of my life, I was on a bike. Yeah,
I mean, the
I
lifestyle.
rode with Fonda too. I rode with Peter a bunch of times.
Wow.
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 Yeah, I've ridden with Peter.
That's
legendary.
Times. Yeah, it's pretty legendary. Yeah, man, that movie. I mean, and the biker community, that is the movie. That's the movie, right? Like that's the movie. Like everybody has their movie, the wild one, but Easy Rider is really like the movie.
Yeah. And the psychedelics too, man. The psychedelics too,
Yeah, that scene where they're like tripping balls in the cemetery, very iconic. And I got to tell you, when I first saw that movie, I was probably around that film school age when you're digging up all the greats. And I remember watching it for the first time and being like, shit, like Jack dies? He dies in this movie? He's dead? Like, that's it? That's all I'm getting? And I was loving it. And I was like, he just dies in the middle of the night. Jeez, I was really disappointed by that.
And he's not the lead. He's not, Peter's
not
the
a huge
lead.
part.
He's not a huge part, but he steals it again.
He steals.
You remember him again. I was disappointed when he died. I was like almost ready to turn the movie off.
Great actors do great things.
I think Jack, he started out working with Corman, right? Roger Corman, right?
Yeah, I believe so too. Yeah.
Again, man, you talk about that generation in the late 60s all the way up through early 80s, man. It's like the movies we're talking about right now, like the greatest time in cinema, in my opinion. Like he's in all of those.
Yeah.
He's in all of those, dude.
Pretty cool. So yeah, for my number 4, listen, there was a movie my mom absolutely loved. And I fell in love with in turn because my mom used to watch it all the time on VHS. And as I got older, my appreciation for it just went through the roof. One, because I'm a giant mark for Shirley MacLaine. And then Terms of Endearment, where he won the Oscar for the best supporting actor, where he plays an astronaut. He's, as to steal a line from ESPN, as cool as the other side of the pillow in that movie. He's so cool. He's just Jack, and he's just cool. And he elevates the film. Shirley and Deborah are so incredible in it. And I think why he won supporting actor for it is he supports the entire film when he comes on screen. He's not in the whole movie, and there's some amazing parts of that film that would happen in a great life lesson film. But when he comes on, that movie jumps up like 20 notches. And that's what a supporting actor is supposed to do. So I think it's one of his best performances. If you haven't seen it, it'll break your fucking heart, but it is one of the better films I've ever seen.
I think you just nailed.
I've never seen this one.
Oh, you should gotta watch it tonight.
I think you just hit it right on the head, though. Like what you just said, Rossi, was that with Jack Nicholson, like everybody tries to be cool, but Jack is just cool. He's kind of like cool. He's like Scott Hall, man. He's just like
cool.
He's not trying to be this. He's not trying to be that. He's just there, and you can just see the coolness exude from him. But it's effortless. It's effortless,
and it's effortless because there is no effort. It's effortless because he's not trying. He's just being who he is. And we're all around. We're in this business. We're around people that are faking the funk left and right, and you're just like, just be you, like, and and it'll be fine. But and I think Jack was one of the first people, Newman, obviously some of the people we just talked about, Warren Beatty and Redford, that they're just being
it's easy to be cool when you look like Paul Newman, though. You know what I'm saying? Like the blue eyes, like come on, man. But Jack,
it's not easy to be cool when you look like Jack. Yeah.
That's man. So I'm with it, bro.
Guys, real quick, really cool connection between Terms of Endearment and As Good as It Gets, my pick. Both movies were directed by James L. Brooks. Both movies won Best Picture. And how about James L. Brooks is also the executive producer behind The Simpsons, which is like a random one. Wow, I've always loved James L. Brooks, man. What a fucking legend.
Yeah, I used to always get him. I used to always think he was related to Mel Brooks somehow, but he's not.
Who you got?
All right, so here's who I've got. Now, this one is kind of more towards the end of Jack's run, but I really like it because it's an older Jack playing a beat-up, old, retired cop. Directed by Sean Penn, The Pledge. The Pledge is a really great movie.
Tough.
Thank you.
That's a gem. That's a gem, bro. Nice.
It's a
sleeper.
gem with a weird. It's got a great rug pull at the end, a real mind f, where you want Jack to be right so bad, and you want him to get his comeuppance. And I'm not going to give away the plot, but let's put it this way. I'm not going to spoil too much, but Jack doesn't really get what he wants at the end, and it kind of ends on a downer. And I always give filmmakers and films and actors credit to like get behind a movie that's going to end on a total downer, because it's just unusual. Like I'm kind of a cynical guy myself. So when a movie ends on a downer, I'm kind of like,
right. And it is a rarity. It's a rarity too. It's happening more and more, but like those Requiem type movies, like, the play and movies that just end and you go, oof, that was a tough one.
You're waiting for the moment, because we're so used to like, okay, they're going to make us think that's going to happen and they're going to give us what we want. And you're just waiting for it to come, and it doesn't come, and you see the credits and you're just like, and it leaves you with a feeling, and that's what movies are all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's the thing about Jack, man. He definitely makes you feel all different types of emotions, man. So listen, on my fourth last choice, I'm definitely going to go a little quirky. When we talk about personification of cool and Jack Nicholson, I think the Witches of Eastwick, he personifies that better than anyone, in the movie Witches of Eastwick, which is kind of a quirky comedy, but
devil,
it's a fun movie.
He played Lucifer, like a warlock style. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, when I was young, I was like, man, wow, okay. He's got 3 witches with him like that. That's not bad, man.
Probably not that different from his regular social life at that
time. And that's when he was everywhere. That's when he was kind of everywhere.
It was fun, and
it was a fun movie. And again, it's him covering all ranges of being an artist, right? He's doing dark stuff. He's doing dramatic. He's doing comedy. He's doing light stuff. He's doing, all these different kind of films. And that's a terrific film that, again, shows his just being Jack, right? My honorable mention, I'm going to throw out an honorable mention because it's probably one that people won't put on a lot of their lists, but I thought Something's Gotta Give was such a great, fun film and a fun film for Jack. Diane Keaton.
Him and Diane Keaton, right?
Diane Keaton, yeah. And I just thought it was such a fun film, and you could tell he was having a lot of fun doing it. And I could imagine it's one of those films that like Jack's coming today, because he's not in every scene, and it's like, oh man. And like you imagine what that's like on set when he shows up. But that's my honorable mention. I love that film.
That's a great one too. And what's fun about that is it was kind of close to home, I remember, because Jack's everyone knows Jack's this kind of lifelong playboy. Yeah, he's had some relationships, but he's a lifetime playboy. And in that character, he's playing a famous playboy, which is kind of fun.
Lothario. Some call him Lotharios.
Oh, okay. I like that. I never heard that word. 2 words that we learned today on Rushmore: a Lothario, and earlier Zeitgeist is the fun one.
Zeitgeist.
You don't know that one. I like those words.
Zeitgeist, I think it is. I might have said it wrong. I think it's Zeitgeist.
The aura. Yeah, the word. Yeah. This is the time. It's like the time. Right?
Yeah. My honorable mention is going to be one similar along to the lines of what Theo picked, kind of a light one, but I'm going to go with anger management when he's
great call.
Great movie.
Great call.
A lot of laugh out loud.
Great title. Great title.
Great movie. Yeah.
No, I think I'm gonna follow suit too. Another lighthearted movie. Him and Morgan Freeman did Bucket List.
Great movie.
That was fun.
I loved it. Yeah, just fun.
So
you can watch
with
the family. The kids can watch it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, because at that point in your career, you're just a draw, and it's like, all right, let's just have some fun.
Let's just have some fun. Let's make this an easy shoot. Yeah. But he did do, one of his deepest roles at the end of his career was about Schmidt, and that was a really, tougher role.
Schmidt.
And a harder role, yeah.
So many good movies.
Many good movies. All right, D, take us out. Take us out.
Yeah, for you guys out there, thank you for the support and everything. And if you're going to follow suit with us on Patreon, please subscribe and follow us. And the info is, where's the info, Tommy?
Right there in the description. It's
all the info down in the description. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel too. And we'll see you next time.
And also, please put your Rushmores in the comment sections and what else you would like to see.
Them. Yeah. Tell us what other Rushmores you want to see, and then put your Rushmores for the Jack. Put Jack Rushmores in there, and I have a feeling we're gonna have a lot of overlap, and I'm curious which ones you're gonna leave out. We just gave 12 with 3 honorable mentions. Let's hear your 4. All right, y'all.
Let's jack it up.
Peace.
Stay easy.